Imagine this. You are 20 or 30 or even 40. Every day you wake up, eat, go to work, and carry around a mind that reacts to everything. A harsh comment ruins your morning. A bad outcome ruins your week. A single moment of chaos and your whole sense of calm disappears with it. Most people spend their entire lives being tossed around this way, and they assume that's just what having a mind feels like. But the Stoics knew something different, that a mind can actually be trained the same way a blade is forged, hammered and tempered until almost nothing can crack it. Here on Stoic Marrow, that's exactly what we're building. So before we go any further, comment the phrase, "My mind is forged," and if you want more of this in your life, go ahead and subscribe, because this channel exists to help you build the kind of mind that stays steady no matter what's happening around it. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire during plague, war, and betrayal, and still managed to keep a mind that rarely broke under pressure. He wrote to himself, quietly, in his own private notebook, that the things which upset us are not events themselves, but the judgments we form about them, and that a person can strip an event of its power simply by refusing to add distress to it. An emperor, reminding himself daily that his mind was the one territory truly under his control, no matter what was happening at the edges of his empire. So let's walk through 8 Stoic lessons that can help forge that same kind of unshakable mind in you. Lesson number 1. Your judgments create your reality. Nothing that happens to you carries any weight until your mind decides what it means. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the opinions they form about those things. A delayed flight is just a delay until your mind calls it a disaster. A criticism is just words until your mind calls it a wound. Even a silent room can feel peaceful to one person and unbearable to another, purely based on the meaning each of them assigns to it. Once you notice this gap between the event and your judgment of it, you start to realize you've been handing away your peace for free, and you can simply stop. Lesson number 2. Control what is yours, release what isn't. An unshakable mind knows exactly where its boundaries are. The Stoics divided everything in life into 2 categories. What is within your control, like your effort and your choices, and what is not, like other people's actions, the weather, or the outcome of something you've already done your best on. Epictetus built his entire philosophy around this single distinction, because he understood that most suffering comes from confusing the two. When you stop fighting for control over things that were never yours to control, your mind stops being pulled in a dozen directions at once, and the energy you save can finally go towards something that actually matters. Lesson number 3. Expect difficulty, don't fear it. Marcus Aurelius began many mornings by reminding himself that he would likely encounter difficult people and frustrating situations that day. This wasn't negativity, it was preparation, the same way a soldier checks his armor before a battle he already expects. A mind that expects some friction doesn't get shaken when friction actually shows up. It was already accounted for, already priced into the day. An unshakable mind isn't one that never faces hardship. It's one that stopped being surprised by it and simply meets it with a plan already in place. Lesson number 4. Discomfort is not danger. Seneca, despite his wealth, would deliberately practice simple living, eating plain food, and sleeping without comfort, just to prove to himself that discomfort was survivable rather than something to fear. This is one of the most overlooked lessons in building mental toughness. Most of what unsettles us isn't actually dangerous. It's just unfamiliar, and our minds often struggle to tell the two apart. Every time you sit with discomfort instead of escaping it, whether that's a hard conversation or a physically demanding task, your mind quietly learns that it can handle more than it thought it could. Lesson number 5. Your character is the only thing truly yours. Circumstances change constantly, but character can remain steady through all of it, regardless of what's happening on the outside. Epictetus lost his freedom, his health, and eventually his home when philosophers were exiled from Rome, yet nothing about who he was on the inside was ever taken from him, because that was never something anyone else could reach. An unshakable mind stops looking for stability in things that were always going to shift, like money, status, or other people's approval, and instead builds its foundation on values and choices that no external event can touch. Lesson number 6, return instead of demanding perfection. A mind doesn't become unshakable by never slipping. It becomes unshakable by learning how to return after every slip without spiraling into self-judgment or giving up entirely. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself over and over that discipline isn't a straight line. It's the practice of coming back to what matters again and again, no matter how many times you've drifted from it before. The mind that judges itself harshly after every mistake stays fragile because it's constantly under attack from the inside. The mind that simply returns, calmly and without drama, becomes hard to break. Lesson number 7, guard what you let into your mind. What you consume daily shapes what your mind becomes, slowly and often without you noticing it happening. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a person's life is dyed by the color of their thoughts, and he treated his own mind the way a commander treats a city under siege, worth protecting at every single gate. Constant noise, comparison and distraction quietly erode mental steadiness over time, the same way water slowly wears down stone. An unshakable mind is often the result of what someone refused to let in, just as much as what they deliberately chose to build. Lesson number 8. Time is your most honest teacher. Seneca often reminded his readers that people guard their money carefully, but spend their time carelessly, as though it could somehow be replaced later. An unshakable mind understands that every hour spent in distraction or unnecessary worry is an hour permanently withdrawn from the life it's actually trying to build. Respecting time the way the Stoics did tends to naturally sharpen focus, patience, and calm, because a mind that genuinely values its hours stops wasting them on things that were never worth that much of its attention in the first place. And here comes the most important part. None of these 8 lessons require becoming emotionless or detached from life. They simply ask you to stop handing your peace over to things that were never worth that much power in the first place. An emperor forged this kind of mind while ruling through plague and war. A philosopher forged it while enslaved and later exiled from everything he knew. And you can forge it too, one lesson at a time, starting with whatever is testing you today. The next time something tries to shake you, remember this: your mind was never as fragile as the moment made it feel. If this resonated with you, comment "My mind is forged," subscribe to Stoic Marrow, and carry these 8 lessons into the very next moment that tests them.